Good morning to the Pathways to Parenting Family Living podcast with Julie Johnson. How are you doing? Are you remembering to pause each day, check in with yourself? How are you managing your mind, your thoughts, feelings? How are you taking care of your body? Getting enough sleep? Eating a balanced diet? What about exercise? The body and mind are closely linked. They feed each other. Today we're turning our focus onto one of the most difficult questions, the one that most parents would really rather not have to broach with their children. And yet in these times when people's health and even their lives may be under threat, we will do more harm than good if we avoid it. I'm talking, of course, about the possibility of our loved ones may become ill, or in the worst case scenario, some may die. It's a deeply delicate topic to discuss, but sadly, as we know today, for some families this is already happening, and for others it may still become a tragic reality. With the potential of overwhelming us, we need to make sure we're in a position to support our children. So therefore we have to start as ever with ourselves, acknowledging our feelings, working with them, processing them. Remember, our emotions are constantly seeking to give us vital information about our situation: worry, fear, sadness, loss, anger. Are acting as guides to help us make the best possible choices. But with COVID-19 brings a whole load of other rather burdensome rubbish with it. We can't be with the people we love in their time of need unless they happen to live with us. Or we ask, did we infect them before isolation was brought in? Is there a chance that they could die in hospital without us by their side? Are they stuck abroad where we can't reach them? This all creates a new sense of powerlessness, of not being in control. When we are faced with this in normal circumstances, most of us will seek to claw back some sense of control, of choice, to rebuild our feelings of autonomy by taking concrete actions. We might visit our sick relatives, offer help, get medical advice, organise support, or take other direct actions that are now off limits. With doctors, surgeries and hospitals seriously stretched, getting the information we need will take time, which of course can cause frustrations, which only adds further to this sense of powerlessness, anxiety and maybe anger. So how are our children coping? As parents, we always want the best for them. We tend to instinctively rush to shield them from pain. Those of us who manage to hold back from this certainly still feel the pang of wanting to protect them from pain, even if we don't act on it. The worry and deep sadness and grief which accompany illness and death feel far too heavy and burdensome to place on our children's young shoulders, and so our natural instinct is to keep the pain away from them. And particularly at this time of shared anxiety and fear and uncertainty, it's completely understandable you may feel our children have got enough to deal with. And yet, what would it be like for them to face the worst completely unprepared? While our innate desire to protect our children is an essential strategy to ensure they survive, the danger is of course that we can end up overprotecting and shielding them from the information they actually need to survive well. So in rightly seeking to prevent them from becoming crippled by emotional trauma and difficulty, we can ironically de-skill them for the life in the real world, where of course illness and death are part of the tapestry of human existence. One 13-year-old girl whose mother had died once told me about the anger she felt that nobody had told her that the illness was terminal. Both her parents had kept this from her for a whole 6 months, and instead sought to make the most of their last few months together. They believed they were doing the best for their daughter, not wishing to burden her with worry, instead trying to control life as normal. Yet the daughter felt she had the right to know, to be with her mum on that journey, to talk to her about it, and ultimately to say goodbye. Not being told the truth about something so critical felt for her like a betrayal, feeling robbed of the final memories that she would have liked to create with her mum. Difficult though it is, if our friends, grandparents or other relatives are ill or at risk of dying from COVID-19, children absolutely need to know. They need us to give them age-appropriate information, as well as to be listened to deeply and fully. Rather than us having rushed to reassure them, they need us to give them the opportunity to ask questions, to express anxieties, fear and sadness, to be held and supported through this difficult time. So when we are faced with painful subjects like illness and loss, they play an essential role in communicating how much people matter to us, how much we love them, and what we need right now is to cope with the feelings of emptiness. Always remember that though it is often uncomfortable, difficult human emotion, our sadness is a vital gift. So our children need us in our role as their parents to help them cultivate the ability to connect and engage with their sadness, as well as the other key emotions. We know that they will continue to face grief and loss throughout their lives. So our job is to teach them how to listen to those essential messages, to process and understand them. That way we are equipping them to be able to cope and hopefully not to be overwhelmed in the future. As one 9-year-old boy expressed to me, I've come to notice sadness, feeling it in my body, listening to the message it's giving me. I don't always like experiencing it, but I need to. He talked about sadness becoming a friend. Let us also remember that not talking about a difficult topic does not mean we aren't communicating. No, children will know. It may not be a concrete thought, but they will observe and absorb what we're modelling to them. They will build a sense and awareness, picking up an atmosphere in the home, or silent communication from us that something is wrong. To a child, our avoidance sends a message. If my parents can't talk about it, gosh, it really must be bad, so I better not talk about it either. And if we take away their permission to talk with us openly, that will create even more pressure for them, on top of their worries about what unspoken topic might be in the first place. Avoiding painful topics therefore takes away our children's emotional safety, when that is the one thing we are hoping to provide for them. By contrast, when we talk openly to our children, we will discover what they know, what they understand, what they're finding confusing, and this can help us uncover any misconceptions, anxieties, fears and worries. We're then in a position to help them by giving them information that's suitable for their age, as well as reassurance, comfort and understanding. Talking with children won't necessarily take away the difficult emotions or make everything okay, but it will help us to know how our children are feeling and enable us to work out best ways to support them. By being listened to, being allowed to ask questions, they will feel safer, held, and more equipped to manage whatever lies ahead. So as we wind up for today, let's remember that we need to start by managing our emotions and thoughts and taking care of ourselves. By remembering the self-compassion techniques from yesterday and using Gavin's daily tips, all the time we'll be laying the foundations to support and hold our children. We've looked at why it's important to talk to children about illness, dying and death. Tomorrow, we will look at how practically to put that into action. For now, remember to take that all-important moment out for yourself, pausing for just 1 minute of self-care. Stay well and see you tomorrow.